In today's world, many misconceptions have been perpetuated, becoming modern-day facts, when in reality, myths and hearsay have taken over. Sorry to burst your bubble, but in this video, we put those delusions to the test, turning your world upside down, because you can't always believe it. The dark side of the moon just sounds eerie and almost mystical. What lies in the shadow of Earth's lunar counterpart? What could be lurking in a veil of astral darkness, hidden from our sight for all of human history? UFO chasers and conspiracy theorists have long thought aliens or government secrets lurk just out of our sight in the black abyss. There is no more a dark side of the moon than there is a dark side of the Earth. Both celestial spheres rotate on an axis that gives equal amounts of sunlight to each side. The only disruption to this night-day pattern are eclipses, which only last for a short while. While the moon orbits the Earth, it still rotates on its own axis, and actually rotates at a speed that keeps the same side facing Earth at all times. The dark side of the moon perception is a confused interpretation of the same side of the moon always facing Earth. If you look into the sky from Earth, you will see the same side of the moon that every other human has looked at since the beginning of time. It wasn't until space travel that we were able to view the mysterious far side of the moon.
Everyone wonders what happens to them when they die, and while we like to ignore the more gruesome parts of putrefaction, there has long been the rumor that your hair and nails continue to grow after death. Accounts of this urban legend have been going around as far back as 1929, when writer Eric Remarque described the process.
It strikes me that these nails will continue to grow like clean fantastic cellar plants long after Kemet breathes no more. I see the picture before me. They twist themselves into corkscrews and grow, and with them the hair on the decaying skull, just like grass in a good soil, just like grass. How can it be possible?
Once someone dies, their body stops supplying oxygen to the cells in their body. Without oxygen, your body stops producing glucose, which is the food cells rely on. This is where some of the pseudoscience for this myth comes from. People know that nails and hair are made of dead tissue and that after death, there's a surplus of the stuff. While it is true that your hair and nails are composed of lifeless keratin, the process to make them requires activity from the germinal matrix, which produces the keratin. Without life, the matrix cannot produce any more nail. The same goes for hair, which is also made from non-living keratin and is produced by a living matrix. That said, there is some room for technicality here. After brain activity ceases, and a person is declared dead, it can take several minutes for the rest of the cells in the body to die. Nerve cells die the quickest, in just 7 minutes, but other cellular processes do carry on. If you take the average nail and hair growth of a person in a day, about 0.1 mm for nails and 0.5 mm for hair, then adjust for old age, hair and nail growth slows with age, you could figure that the hair and nails of a deceased person grow about 3 micrometers. For reference, a single human hair is usually 100 micrometers thick. So if we know hair and nails can't grow without living structures to produce them, why do people think they do? While your cells die and the decomposition process begins, one of the first things that starts to happen is dehydration. Without the ability to maintain tissue maintenance, the water evaporates from your body, drying out your skin. As your body dries, it shrinks, all except for that keratin protein that was dry already. So instead of your nails growing out, the skin on your fingers is actually pulling in, leaving more hard nail exposed. The same is true for your hair. Morticians sometimes have to apply large amounts of moisturizing cream to human bodies to keep this from becoming obvious even just days after death. Men with beards, especially, require ample moisture to keep the shrinkage at a minimum. Keeping this in mind, it's easy to imagine early and isolated communities opening recently dug graves to see shrunken faces with long beards and nails, and think something sinister and supernatural could be afoot.
Since 1904, people have been claiming that the Great Wall of China is so big and so prominent, that it can be seen from the surface of the moon. After 65 years of waiting, Apollo astronauts were able to confirm the authenticity of this claim. Their answer, no. Alan Bean, of the Apollo 12 mission, recounts that all you can really make out on the Earth are lots of white clouds and snow, some blue patches, a little bit of yellow, and, every once in a while, a patch of green.
The Chinese space program was shaken to learn that their own astronaut, Yang Liwei, couldn't see the wall from space. This at least confirmed the invisibility wasn't a political conspiracy. After numerous missions to space, by astronauts from countries all over the world, nobody could see the wall. The International Space Station, which is 238,601 miles closer to the Earth than the Moon, or only 0.1% as far away, still offers no view of the wall with the naked eye. It was Chinese-American astronaut Leroy Chiao who would eventually spot the wall using a camera and 180mm lens. Even then, he could only identify a small portion of it. The human eye is often compared to having a roughly 50mm field of view, meaning that the 180mm lens far surpassed human capability. Chiao took another photograph using a 400mm lens, and experts were even less sure that he had taken a photo of the actual wall. Favorable snowfall and sunlight had seemed to be largely responsible for photographing the wall the first time. NASA also confirms the Great Wall is nearly impossible to photograph using conventional means, but says low-orbit satellites can capture it using radar.